Shalom, shalom, mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. Today, I'm going to be talking about a very controversial topic, grape juice or wine. Which did Yeshua create at the miracle during the wedding of Canaan in Yochanan, John chapter 2? Boy, I tell you, this subject has created such a firestorm in religious circles. I grew up in the Free Will Baptist denomination, and this very issue caused a rift and a split between the denomination itself and split a college in half, where there was one professor who basically said, yeah, Yeshua created alcoholic grape juice at this wedding, and this other camp, pastor, he says, no, that could never be. And so there was this big debate. Was it wine or was it grape juice? Was it fermented or was it not fermented? And this caused such a split that Free Will Baptist Bible College was split in half, and there was another college, Southeastern, that was created because of this rift. And even the denomination today, there's residual effects where you still have a little tension between these two camps, when all they had to do was go to the Hebrew and Aramaic of the book of Yochanan and just look at what word was used for wine. Plain and simple. And people have to get over their preconceived religious man-made ideas and come to the truth of what the original language says and what the culture and customs say, despite your personal convictions and beliefs about an issue. Now, back then, at a wedding usually lasted 7 days, representing the creation of new life, of a new union, because you had a man and a woman becoming one. Now, the man and the woman, the groom and the bride, were considered kings and queens, and they were treated as such, and so it was just a big lavish party. Now, rabbis at that time didn't really officiate weddings as such, because they didn't have such religious legal stipulations as we do today, where you have to be licensed to marry or bury somebody. So the elder of a community, or the elder or the prince of a tribe or a clan could perform the wedding ceremony. Rabbis during that time were invited as entertainment, believe it or not. They were considered like jesters in the king's court, so to speak. And they would sing, they would dance, they would bring joy. Them and their talmudim, they would bring joy and entertainment to the king and queen, to the groom and bride. And that was their gift. So Rabbi Yeshua was a young and upcoming rabbi in the community, and therefore he was invited. Now, Canaan and Galilee, it was a very close-knit community, so, Bob's your uncle, basically. You were very few degrees away from any relation. Everybody knew everybody. So very possibly, somehow, Yeshua was related to the groom and bride at this wedding. So he gladly came. Now, what's this big dispute about his mother? When the wine ran out, his mother basically said, Yeshua, I know who you are. I know you're the Messiah. I know what you can do. Make wine for these people. And Yeshua said, it sounds like an insult in the English translation, but if you look at the original language, basically it's a term of endearment. He says, dear woman, what have I to do with this situation right now? He goes, my time has not yet come. What did he mean by that? He meant that the Messianic age had not come yet. The Messianic age was symbolized by the abundance of wine. And for him to turn water into wine at this time, which coincidentally was his first miracle, would basically be a calling card to say, hey, I'm the Messiah of Israel. And I'm the one who's going to usher in this Messianic age. So that's why he kind of was hesitant. But because the Torah commands us to obey our parents, to honor our parents, Yeshua conceded to what Miriam requested. And so there were 6 water jars, 6 symbolizing man. There was water. So he is the divine Messiah. He's both 100% God and 100% man all at the same time. He's 100% God to be able to redeem us from our sins, and 100% man to have that right to be our kinsman redeemer. So he transforms this water into wine. There's 2 words for wine in Hebrew. Tirosh, which means grape juice, and yayin, which means fermented wine. And what is used in the text of Yochanan is yayin. Yeshua created yayin. People say, well, isn't it a sin to drink? Well, no. If you research the scriptures, it's not a sin to drink alcoholic beverages, but it's a sin to get drunk. So that's why it's a good idea to abstain from alcohol altogether, because especially people who were formerly alcoholics, they have a problem, an issue with this, and they cannot, they have no willpower over their limits, and it's easy for them to get drunk. But it doesn't prohibit alcohol, but just prohibits getting drunk. So Yeshua turned the water into wine. Now what people do with blessings that God gives, they can either turn the blessing, they can either abuse it or appreciate it. Appreciating the wine would be drinking it and savoring it and just, enjoying it. Abusing this blessing of yayin would be to get drunk. That's where free will comes in. And Yeshua didn't cause anybody to get drunk. People got drunk on their own free will. So what people did with that wine was their problem, their responsibility, their issue. Now the miracle happened because he turned the water into fermented wine. You could probably trick people into thinking you turned grape, water into grape juice. Because all you do is squish a grape and boom, you got grape juice. But the miracle was that it was turned into fermented wine, the best of fermented wine. Because you can't make fermented wine overnight. There's an aging process, a time process that has to occur for there to be fermentation happening within the grape juice. So it was a miracle that Yeshua turned the water into wine, into fermented wine. So, hopefully you enjoyed this Ray Bash's ramblings. Hopefully this put to rest some questions and issues you may have. I'm sure I'll probably get a lot of emails and a lot of questions regarding this issue. But anyway, that's kind of the cards. They're there on the table. And so shalom and Shavua Tov Mishpocha.